The situation is still very fluid. There remains a degree of uncertainty, and there are still regime elements who pose a threat. But this much is clear. The Gaddafi regime is coming to an end, and the future of Libya is in the hands of its people. Now, the celebrations that we've seen in the streets of Libya shows that the pursuit of human dignity is far stronger than any dictator. I want to emphasize that this is not over yet. As the regime collapses, there's still fierce fighting in some areas, and we have reports of regime elements threatening to continue fighting. Although it's clear that Gaddafi's rule is over, he still has the opportunity to reduce further bloodshed by explicitly relinquishing power to the people of Libya and calling for those forces that continue to fight to lay down their arms for the sake of Libya. An ocean divides us, but we are joined in the basic human longing for freedom, for justice, and for dignity. Your revolution is your own, and your sacrifices have been extraordinary. Now, the Libya that you deserve is within your reach. Going forward, we will stay in close coordination with the TNC to support that outcome. And though there will be huge challenges ahead, the extraordinary events in Libya remind us that fear can give way to hope, and that the power of people striving for freedom can bring about a brighter day.
Hospitals near Tripoli are feeling the heat as the front line moves closer to the Libyan capital and the number of casualties mounts. Field hospitals find themselves short of resources.
Dead bodies lie covered on the grass. This field hospital on the outskirts of the Libyan city of Zawiya is struggling to cope with the casualties from the fighting. Some are brought from the capital Tripoli, half an hour's drive to the east.
We need urgent stuff. We need support. A lot of cases. We need hands. We need a doctor, a specialist, and we need hands. Even nurses and technician anesthesia. Why? Because we have shortage in the hands, and a lot of injured patients. I am so sorry for this, but this is urgent, please, for all which we can help.
A spokesman for the regime blamed the West for the casualties, saying they don't care about the human costs of the 6-month war.
Every drop of Libyan blood shed by these rebels is the responsibility of the Western world, and especially NATO's countries. So we hold Mr. Obama, Mr. Cameron, and Mr. Sarkozy morally responsible for every single unnecessary death that takes place in this country.
After overnight assault, rebels say they control parts of the capital. But the government dismisses these claims, saying people in Tripoli will fight for the regime until the end.
The Arab League condemns Israeli attacks on Gaza in the first official response of the Pan-Arab Organization since recent violence broke out. A series of Israeli airstrikes in retaliation for recent attacks on Israelis have wounded at least 7 Palestinians.
The wounded arrived at a hospital in Gaza City. A series of Israeli airstrikes on Gaza wounded at least 7 Palestinians and damaged a Hamas compound Sunday. Palestinian militants fired some 12 rockets into southern Israel on Sunday, prompting an Israeli threat to step up attacks in the Gaza Strip during a 3-day-old surge in cross-border violence. The bloodshed began Thursday when gunmen, who Israel said came from the Gaza Strip, crossed into Israeli territory near the Red Sea resort of Eilat and killed 8 people in attacks on a desert road. In a counterattack by Israel near the Sinai border, 5 Egyptian soldiers were killed. In Cairo, the Arab League is now condemning the Israeli attacks on Gaza and the first official response of the Pan-Arab Organization since the recent violence broke out. Secretary General of the Arab League, Nabil al-Arabi,
الدول العربية تجد أنها تطالب تحث المجتمع الدولي على العمل على
Arab countries have requested the international community to work on putting an end to the Israeli blockade on Gaza and opening the crossings to and from Gaza. In this respect, it must be clear Israel's actions are those of war crimes. War crimes are not solved by obsolescence. The international humanitarian law prohibits the blockade of civilians even in times of war, and even now we're in times of peace.
Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Monday, August 22nd, 2011. I'm Darko. This is part 2 of this news bulletin, everyone. I'm going to cover the War of Terror and the War on Liberty and Sovereignty. You just saw some videos there which basically demonstrate that. I have a poll up here. You can check it out. What type of false flag government-sponsored event is most likely in the next 18 months? And also, you can follow me by entering your email address. GGNonline.com is my website. That's GGNonline.com. DDarko2012 is my YouTube channel, and Global Government News Group is on Facebook. The links with all the articles and along with those links for Facebook will be in YouTube's video description, so check it out, please. Okay, I have a lot to get to in this video still, so I'm going to kind of move fast here. Like I said, the links will be posted, so go in there and check them out. Libyan rebels control much of Tripoli. Gaddafi whereabouts unknown. Libyan Gaddafi's elder son Mohammed surrenders to rebels, and they said that he was arrested. I think he, according to this, he surrendered. And then the United States and France have set a deadline of September 2nd to topple Libyan leader Colonel Gaddafi, with NATO powers ready to inflict a crushing blow if Gaddafi refuses to step down peacefully. That's right, they don't care about the people, they just care about a regime change that will be more conducive towards raping their natural resources, including their central bank, their gold reserves, their oil, and all that, according to an Israeli intelligence source based in Washington. And September is also another date for Israel to possibly be striking Iran, or allowing itself to be struck, and in other words, a false flag, blaming it on Iran. And then, of course, this is to avoid Palestine getting its statehood. Obama, time for Gaddafi to yield power. So Barros Santoro says, time for Gaddafi to recognize that his rule is over. And it says here, the future of Libya is now in the hands of the Libyan people. Well, no, the actual resources were in the hands of the Libyan people. And there was a lot of good things that were done in that country, including free healthcare, free education. Farmers had free equipment and education, and they had water from a man-made aqueduct or man-made river. One of the, the 8th wonders of the world, 9th. One of the biggest man-made rivers was built with their tax dollars, unlike the United States, where it's just, basically it's stolen from them, and then, you never really see it. And now you're seeing that all your money that you pay in taxes is really going to the criminal cartel of banks known as the Federal Reserve System. That's right, your Social Security and income tax goes directly to them. So just so you know that it doesn't actually go to anything except for maybe education and the police state. So moving on here, we have Hugo Chavez rails against NATO mission in Libya. Then we have, let's finish what he says. He says he condemns NATO's bombings in Libya, saying it's an aim to control the country's oil wealth, which he's right, because he has it too, and he knows. Just like Syria, they're coming. They're coming. Globalist Richard Haas calls for NATO occupation of Libya. He said he now wants boots on the ground. And then move on to this. U.S. won't take part in post-Gadhafi peacekeeping, and this was on the 22nd. So the U.S. military planners say they believe a post-Gadhafi Libya may require an international force to keep the peace. Ooh, but Obama administration has made clear its allies that they shouldn't expect American troops to participate. No, we're just going to bomb them with drones. We have NATO mulling stay in Libya, hopefully not like Afghanistan. Now they're just saying they're going to be there until 2024. NATO combat air patrols over Libya to continue until all pro-Gadhafi forces surrender. Then we have Obama sends drones to Libya as Britain readies troops. This is April 22nd of this year. NATO takes on part of Libya mission from U.S., So, basically this is when they said the U.S. got out of the war in Libya, yet they were, like I said, they were droning them. They had CIA, stuff like that. And look who's in charge of NATO's Libya actions, Air Force General. And you go down here and you find out that General Bouchard, who's stationed in Naples, has been designated by NATO as the head of the alliance military campaign in Libya. And guess what? He's the commander of NORAD, and he's reporting to an American general. So there you go. America is still, has been fighting over there, in control still. Gaddafi seeks talks and calls for a ceasefire. And this was August 21st, 2011. Rebels scorn talk with isolated Gaddafi. And then we go to the U.S. repeats Gaddafi must go amid ceasefire talk. This is April 1st. So they would say, you got to go. Libya, Gaddafi offers talks with NATO. And then this was, what, April 30th, talking about a ceasefire. Then NATO rejects Gaddafi's ceasefire offer, continues bombing Tripoli. So you see, the guy has tried. They don't give a shit. They want him out. And trust me, it is not for the people or humanitarian mission. This is a culmination of a 1,000-year plan here that we're dealing with, which is basically to end all sovereign nations. Nations aren't going to fight each other anymore. That's why you don't see it anymore, like actual nations really fighting it out, duking it out, big wars. It's all about just taking out the global army, which is the U.S. and UK, taking out sovereign nations. And when they're all done, which they're almost done with North Korea, Venezuela, Iran, Syria, Lebanon, that's it. That's it. There's no more sovereign nations to conquer. And that's why they come up with this war on terrorism, because the terrorists are going to be the traditionalists. Those are going to be the indigenous. Those are going to be, quote, patriots that want to go back to the nationalist system. They're going to be anarchists. They're going to be a lot of different groups that don't like this globalist system, and they're going to be called and labeled terrorists. And all of these apparatuses have been set up to not only enslave the slaves, but to get those ones that are trying to fight back, either philosophically, verbally, with a message, or physically, before anything even happens. So it says here, Merkel says she will resist market pressure for common Euro region bonds. We have Netherlands gives 87 million, I believe it's pounds, frozen assets to the WHO. Dutch government has given 100 million of euros in frozen Libyan assets to the World Health Organization to distribute medicine to Libyan people. Sounds like eugenics. And it goes down here and it says that they should be able to have money for diabetic patients. Like I said, they have a healthcare system and it's free. The problem is that they're cutting off their water supplies when they're bombing their man-made river and whatnot, and bombing different infrastructure. So you can call that war crimes too. And then look at this, Libyan frozen assets may soon be released. So basically it goes on there and said that Obama said that they're going to give it to basically the Al-Qaeda terrorists, basically these rebels that are working with Al-Qaeda. It says Gaddafi under siege, 2 CIA-backed groups and Al-Qaeda-linked LIFG on top of power stakes. NATO bombs the Great Man-Made River. This is Wednesday, July 27th. So, and it is a war crime to attack essential civilian infrastructure. And you go in there and check that out. And yeah, so. This is stuff that they're not talking about. Libya rebels jubilant as they secure grip on Tripoli's oil line. Why? Because Brent oil falls as Libyan rebels enter Tripoli. That's what it's all about. The battle for Libya is almost over, as is the battle for its 144 tons of gold. So go down here and check this out. They basically explain how there's a tie and a link between Venezuela demanding their physical gold and how all of a sudden, basically, this is sped up in Libya. This taking down of Gaddafi is all of a sudden sped up, and they're basically because they have gold and they're going after it here. Libyan rebel commander admits his fighters have ties to Al-Qaeda. Send the dogs of war. The mercenaries could help the ragtag rebels, say UK generals. CIA feelers in Libya. So go in there and check that out, talking about CIA operations. How the rebels planned an assault on Tripoli, call to arms the sleeper cells that came from mosque, and the headless corpse, the mass grave, and worrying questions about Libyan's rebel army. Libyan rebels accused of targeting blacks, and depleted uranium, a strange way to protect Libyan civilians. That's right. Mounting Libyan death toll from U.S. and NATO bombings. And Libya says NATO strikes kill 9 civilians, then 15 civilians. A NATO strike kills Gaddafi's grandson. This is older news. Syria needs time to enact reform. Then analysis after Libya, eyes turn to Syrian revolt. U.S. tightens sanctions on Syria, so they're not listening. Arab nations to pressure Syria at UN. Syria's Assad to West, stop interfering. U.S. keeps Iran, Syria, Sudan, Cuba on terror blacklist, and families maintain hope Iran will release hikers. They were convicted of espionage. BBC admits role in 1953 Iranian coup, then death of Egyptian troops, tests Israel-Egypt treaty. UK silent on Israel's brutal attacks, and Egypt urges Israel to halt strikes. We have clip shows Bahraini mourners were attacked. U.S. drone strike kills 5 in northwest Pakistan. U.S. spy drone crashes in Afghanistan and Somalia. Americans favor Afghan pullout, says poll, and U.S. troops may stay in till 2024. Afghans block road in anti-U.S. demo.